Gentlemen, the time has come once again to discuss things.
Anyway, hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Geeky Gentlemen. This is another installment in Geeky Gentlemen History Month, the month in which we discuss the contributions that Geeky Gentlemen have been made to history, but that have been ignored by Bias educational system, except not at all. Let me just say before we get into the discussion this week that you, the listener, can download episodes of Geeky Gentlemen. There's a link in the description. Download this episode. You can download old episodes by request. There's a Geeky Gentlemen playlist. Go check through all 340-something episodes we've done. Leave a comment on an episode you'd like to download, and I will post it on the website for you. Yeah, that's that whole process. Anyway, I don't think Rasco knows, but I'm gonna test Rasco. What are we discussing?
Oh my God, no! I remember something about this episode. I'm not gonna explain the topic.
Indeed. Now we are discussing whether or not democracy has any value from a historical perspective.
Yeah, I knew it, guys.
Yeah. And this is a very poignant topic. This is posted, for those listening after the fact, this is posted days before, 3 days, we're recording this 3 days before, this will be posted 2 days before the 2016 American presidential election. Some background on the hosts here. I am living in the state of Indiana, where Trump's running mate was governor. Governor Mike Pence, who is still the active governor for the moment, is the VP nominee for President of the United States, running with Donald Trump. Rasco, what's your background?
Oh, I'm from Kentucky,
Mm-hmm.
and Mike Pence is not from here.
You have no particular relation or anything with either of the candidates. Ozzy, maybe your name gives it away. What's your background?
I'm in Victoria, Australia, home of Jeff Kennett, and in a country where it is actually that once you get the right to vote, you actually get fined if you don't, and that's at local, state, and federal levels.
That's really good. I like that.
Hey, it is what
maybe.
it is. Oh, and we've never had a political assassination, so I'm not saying those things are related, but they are side by side.
Interesting. Okay. So the question this week is democracy worthwhile from a historical perspective? And I don't just mean that by, like, the sense of, is it worthwhile? Like, is it worth having this election turn out whatever way it does? Should we have democracy based on this election? I mean, just in general, is democracy a good idea when we look at its implications historically?
Yeah, I'll tell you, man, it's a good topic. Like, the minute you proposed this to me, I think my exact words were, hell fucking yeah, I want in on this. Anyone who's had the displeasure of seeing my channel will tell you that I've constantly been looking for better political systems and have always kept an open mind. But, yeah, seriously. Does it, on the historical scale of things, make a difference? It changes a lot in a lot of ways. I mean, you got to ask yourself, can we start like any good discussion with the definitions? Like, what is democracy?
Okay, let's go ahead and do that. Do we want to use the internet for a definition? We can do that. Who's got the internet right now?
Hold on.
Democracy definition. A system of government, this is Google's definition, a system of government by the whole population of all eligible members of a state, typically through elected representatives.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think, and like I said, a couple, for those of you doing homework, a couple notable examples. The state of Athens, where no one was as cruel as everyone altogether. Where, what do you call it? Pirate ships, believe it or not, they function democratically because, goddammit, the people in there really could kick your ass individually. And of course, the USA, a country that figured out that you could have representative democracy, just not asking everyone everything all the time. So, yeah, there's the quick background where I'm coming from.
Mm-hmm. Rasco, how about you?
So I think that democracy is kind of overrated, maybe, because
Even
if you look at a lot of societies, including America, historically, the term democracy has a really positive connotation now, but it hasn't traditionally. In fact, America is deliberately a democratic republic that actually leans, if you actually look at on paper, it leans to be more of a republic, because what the problem with democracy is that it creates mob rule. So you'll have 51% of a population oppressing 49%, and it creates divisiveness, and it polarizes people.
Yeah, and it's such an interesting thing, because that is kind of the reaction that I think you have when you look at, like, a state that does fucked up shit.
Mm-hmm.
But then, like, you know, the immediate reaction is, what the fuck else do you want? Like, do you really want to say that you would choose to live in a state in which you have no say in how the government is run?
No.
There are some people who would, if they figure the people who have a say in their place actually are doing a good enough job. If I can cite a quick example, like, for example, Australia. Our head of state is not Australian. Our head of state is the Queen of England. Because, no, seriously.
I know, but, like...
because we elect like it's like if you work at a fast food franchise. You can imagine everyone in the fast food franchise can elect who the store manager is. But the guy who owns the franchise can fire everyone in there in a few seconds. So trust me when I say we've got a really interesting situation in Australia where, on the one hand, we'll fine you if you don't vote. You don't vote and you're registered to vote, you're paying up, bitch. But on the other hand, we don't own the country. We just have this weird delusional idea that we do. And trust me, the British royal family can pull the switch anytime they need to basically shut the whole thing down.
Okay, now let me ask a question. When was the last time a British monarch used that authority on any of its subsidiaries?
That's going back a bit.
Yeah, really. It's going back to when the British monarch actually had power.
I think the last example of outright privilege that was granted to a monarch was when the Thames River was shut down so that the Queen could sail down the thing.
Yeah, so, seriously, no. Like, that's on paper, but it never happens. So you do have a functional democracy, even if you don't have one on paper. But
no.
yeah, like, you might...
Good distinction.
You might conceive of a person that would choose to live in a state in which they have no control or no say in the government, and you could make the argument that you truly don't unless you live in particular states in the United States or whatever. You don't really have a say, you just have a comforting little thought that you do. You could make that argument, you wouldn't be entirely wrong. But I mean, in all honesty, just the idea of, like, maybe it's indoctrination on my part. I don't want to completely discount that. because I've been told my entire life, like, you know, all fucking 12 years or whatever of public schooling that I
12
had.
years a slave.
Yeah. Oh, damn, that's a poignant point. No, but like all 12 years of public education I have, they kept telling me, oh, we live in the greatest country on earth, democracy is the best thing ever. You know, it's indoctrination, I'll admit. But at the same time, when I really challenge myself to drop all that and just think purely, okay, what is a better way to live than in a democracy, or at least conceptually a democracy, let's say.
Yeah, see, here's the irony.
I don't want to advocate for dictatorship. Like, I'll admit, maybe from, like, I can argue this from different perspectives, I suppose. Because from a perspective of getting shit done, without any question or whatever, or without any debate, yeah, dictatorship's the way to go. If you have, you know, the fallacy of the good dictator, I'm assuming everyone here has heard of the city Cincinnati.
Yes.
Named after Cincinnatus, yeah.
Yes, named after Cincinnatus. Very good. Cincinnatus was like the ideal Roman dictator. There's this provision in the Roman laws that if blockade occurred because of whatever, or if like there was a time of great crisis, then the Republic could announce one person to dictate, to just tell everybody what to do, and they'd do it, so they'd be the dictator. They could announce one person, and that person would do it, and then give the role up in order, and hand power back to the Republic once the crisis was over.
Yeah,
Cincinnatus was the ideal version of that, because like the story goes that he was out plowing his field, and then someone came to tell him that the Republic voted to make him dictator. He put down his plow, he went to Rome, he dictated, the problem was solved, he handed power back to the Republic, went back to his field, and started plowing again. That's, you know, it's obviously oversimplified, but whatever. So, like, from a functional thing, particularly if you have a good person as the dictator, yeah, it's a great way to just get shit done in the society, but at the same time, what if you don't have a good person as the dictator?
What if they suck?
What if they're a fucking monster?
What if they're just what if they're a good guy who's really popular, you know who I'm thinking about, but are ridiculously incompetent? So, yeah, and yeah, this is actually a revelation I've had recently. You know, who is the bigger fool? The fool or the fool who follows him? And
okay, Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Ooh. The answer is the latter. The guy who can see his own mistakes and is trying to correct them, but is doing a shit job of them, is still better than the guy who blindly says there's one perfect person out there, and this guy's the person.
Yeah, so, it's such a fucking tricky thing, and it's so hard to, like, argue. It's weird, because you have to argue by the extremes, right? You, like, I don't know, can anyone think of a notable, just kind of alright dictator?
No.
Right?
Fidel Castro is so-so, but,
there are plenty of Cuban refugees who will disagree with you.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. There's a couple... no, that guy was... No. So I was almost going to say, well, Nicholas Ceausescu comes to mind, but he was the guy who was famously taken out against a wall by his own populace and shot.
Yeah, so, like, it's just one of these things where I don't know how I feel about it, because I don't know if it's indoctrination, but I personally, as a person that would live in the society but have little to no influence over the society either way, I would rather choose to live in a state that has democracy than in a state that does not.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't want to be a subject. I want to, even if my say is inconsequential, I like the feeling that I have a say. better than the knowledge that I functionally do not.
It's important from like a principled position in a free society that you have the right to contribute politically. So, like, yeah, I don't know what I was gonna go. I don't know what I was saying with that, but
no, I agree. That's all you need to say. You know, it was funny. I was rewatching one of my favorite clips from Monty Python, where the peasant asks Arthur to explain what makes him king, and he starts going like, "The Lady of the Lake held aloft Excalibur," and he's like, "No, that is not a functional form of government. We can't just have random aquatic frauds distributing swords. Government has to exist as a mandate from the populace being governed," and it's like so fucking perfect because that's what monarchy is, though. It's a system based on divine right or some other, you know, non-physical thing. And I'm trying not to use the word bullshit there, not to be insulting, but still. It's a system that is based on, well, this person rules because a lot of the time it's divine mandate. God chose them to rule. This person rules because the Pope made them Holy Roman Emperor, and so the Pope speaks for God on earth. There's all these like reasons behind democracy, and that's why, or not democracy, behind monarchy, and that's why monarchy is fucking bullshit. Because guess what? You'll never have a say. Because if you oppose the king, you're a fucking heathen.
One thing that's funny about democracy too is that like we think that it's like our right to like make decisions based on democracy, that we shouldn't be making like areas where we shouldn't even be making decisions. So like what I mean by that is like I forget what state it was, but there's a state where gay marriage was overthrown, where it pretty much it went against the popular vote, and gay marriage was legalized in a state. And it was like,
oh, California.
Yeah, it was California, and it was like, why do you get to why are we making decisions about whether or not people have rights? Like, this isn't even, like, there's certain things that you don't get to vote about. Like gun people would always say, like, you don't get to vote to take my guns away. Like, that's a thing that a lot of, like, pro-Second Amendment people would say, and it's like, I would make that same argument with a lot of things where, like, democracy makes us think that we have a choice in other aspects of other people's lives where we shouldn't have choices.
Yeah.
It's an interesting dilemma, and so like it becomes this idea of, well, who's allowed to vote, and that's what makes a democracy, right? Because let's see here, women's right to vote, 19th Amendment. Someone Google for me when the 19th Amendment was passed.
Yeah, I can check that out.
19th
Amendment.
1920, August 18th.
1920. Okay, so women get the right to vote in 1920. Black people and other minorities get truly the right to vote in the 60s with the Civil Rights Amendment, the Civil Rights Movement. So we've only really had a true democracy where everyone in the country was allowed to vote for about 50 years.
Yep.
1920 to 2000 and 90 years. If you go back to 90 years where both sexes were allowed to vote. That's a fucking problem in a 270-year-old country? No, 50-year-old? Someone check my math on that.
Been around for a while.
Yeah, so for roughly, not even quite half, roughly a third of the country's history, we've had both sexes with the right to vote. Less than a fourth of the country's history has everyone in the country had on paper the right to vote. And we're still dealing with stuff where the right to vote is being subtly restricted for large sections of the population.
Yeah, I see. This is why I opened up with Australia having the requirements to vote, not just the right. You are required. If you ever I'll tell you a true story. I know a bloke never got registered to vote. He was in his 30s when I met him. I was in my 20s, so he's a good 10 years older than me. He'd always dodged around signing up to vote. He was an Australian citizen, had the rights, had the responsibility, born here even, but screw it, never wanted to vote. And you know what? I agree with his stance. If he never wants to get in on the system, he's never started, he's never contributed, he doesn't want to get in there. He pays his taxes, which technically is his agreement to keep the state going, but he lets everyone else make his decisions for him. If you wanted an example of a guy who's happy to live under a dictatorship, technically that's the guy. But yeah. But
I wouldn't say that's living under a dictatorship, because at any point he could exercise the option. A dictatorship is the option does not exist.
Yeah, but that's sorry, there's a couple of obvious jokes there, but I will not make those jokes. Anyway, but what I'm saying here is, there's the kind of guy who literally waived it all. But conversely, while you talk about the right to vote, what about the obligation or the duty? It's a recent term I've run into called the, quote, social contract, unquote, that has to come into it. Technically speaking, there's always been this social contract, this obligation to at least not make your fellow man's life deliberately worse. Unless you're Mike Pence. Anyway, sorry. In which case, yeah, rainbows are just bad and you know it. Anyway.
Well, I want to throw this out there. I think we did a reasonably good job of making it 20 minutes-ish into the episode before any, of our left... everyone here is pretty left-wing. Before any of our left-leaning ideas kind of, came into it.
Sorry.
I think we did pretty good on that. I just want to say.
Yeah, I've got a... No, here's the thing. I'm more of a centrist, but, yeah, I've just got no respect for anyone who disses on the LGBT community for no good reason. So, yeah, but, no, that's what I mean. Functionally speaking, there's always a balance of power between the ruling class and the majority. Most of the, like, a good example would be India. The first country, one of the few countries that left, let's say few, one of the countries that left the British Commonwealth, but did it in a really big way because of the trade deals and everything else they had. That was a good example where the British were keeping the majority of the population down, at least from exercising their own political will. And the truth of the matter is, they did have their own representatives. Technically, the British Raj was a group of original power holders who the British propped up and paid off. And there's plenty of examples of most major world powers doing that to the local populace, to say, see, these guys are like you. These guys are, your local guys, and they're talking to us. But, yeah, in practice, it is a balance of power issue, which is why I started this discussion with going quickly over the definition of democracy, just so we could see, just so we were all on the same page and we knew what we were talking about.
Yeah, it's funny. I was looking for a thumbnail for this video, and I found what I think I'm going to use. It's a little girl. It's a teacher and a little girl in a class, and the teacher's like, "Who can tell me what democracy is?" And she raises her hand and she says, "It's the right to pick our own dictators." It's a really, really good little comic. It's such an interesting discussion, and I've really been trying. I've been trying my best to avoid this because it's going to make me sound like such a fucking elitist. But do you think there are some people who should not get to have a say in how a country is run?
Yeah, so, okay, this is interesting because it's like, this is where it's important to have the right to vote, but not to necessarily think everyone should vote, right? Like, there are some people that don't, so here's the big thing, like, people don't make rational decisions largely, okay? That doesn't mean nobody can be convinced by, evidence and facts and logic and reason, but it does mean that there are a lot of people that don't make decisions based on rationality. I mean, you wouldn't have the country split down the middle politically if that was the case. You'd have, like, 2/3 on one side and 1/3 on the other, or something, if it was a rational choice. But it's obviously not.
It's an emotional choice.
And so, like, it's like, do you want everyone making decisions in your country? Well, no, not really. But at the same time, I would like for a lot of people to be educated so a lot of people can make an educated decision.
And it's the thing of, like, conceptually, I could see myself, and I'm not proud of this, I want to say, I could see myself being okay with a system where some people in the country don't get to vote, but I don't know how that system would work, and everything I think of has, like, just a huge fucking risk.
Yeah, like, it's,
involved,
I mean...
Right? Like the idea of a voting test.
Yeah.
Like, you have to
We've
take
seen
some
these
kind
things
of
be
test.
used wrongly in the past. Like...
Yeah, like, it
dude.
could so easily go fucking tits up.
You watch the movie Selma, and you see that right away. Friggin' brilliant movie, by the way. But, yeah, it's like... I hate to say it. Someone did a video, I'm not going to say who, but they actually take one of those voting tests. It's like, spell the word backwards, forwards.
Yeah, I've seen that video.
Yeah, and, you know, it's like, okay, I get it, you know, but, you know, on the other hand...
On the other hand, I have problems with the idea that someone who...
as an irrational...
I'm trying to pick, like, just... I don't want to pick the most extreme example. I want to pick something that...
But it is
that
the
I'm
extreme
personally
examples that
bothered.
you're trying to safeguard against. So
Yeah,
nobody's going
like-
to hold it against you if you do.
Yeah, alright, fine. I don't want neo-Nazis to have the right to vote. I feel like if you belong to the American neo-Nazi party or to skinhead groups, you've lost the right to vote. Because, maybe it's this, I don't feel that people who, should they get into power, would take rights away from others should have a right to get in power. But that's a very, very, if not contradictory argument, because it's what I'm advocating for. It's really
Just a
fucking
bit.
twisted in my head.
Yeah, it comes...
You know, and anyone watching this, don't ever fucking worry about me. I am staying far the fuck away from government. So I have the right to express my confusion and differing and sometimes contradictory opinions on the fucking internet, whereas someone who is actually running for office doesn't get to say the stuff I am. Like, you have to have an idea of what you want to do. We have to know what you're trying to do. Hint, hint, hint what I'm fucking talking about there.
Wait a second, what?
Is that subtle enough for you? No, it's a really fucking hard thing, and I almost feel wrong in a lot of ways about some of the stuff I am saying here. It's a really dangerous idea, but at the same time, can you honestly say to me that you feel perfectly comfortable with the possibility, and this is something that is happening, with the possibility that David Duke, the former president of the KKK, can become a United States Senator? Are you okay with that fundamentally?
It's really weird too, because I was watching this thing last night actually, and it was kind of explaining how, like, we see this phenomenon right now in America where there's a very large uneducated population that's supporting one of the candidates. Which one do you think it is? But there's a very large and uneducated group of our population that's really behind a lot of Trump's support. And it comes from the fact that they're people that are working in really economically unfeasible areas of the U.S. And they're people that are really seeing the wares and the deterioration of, I guess, the U.S.'s economy the most. But they also are the least educated. So they're making the worst choice, and it's tied to this idea of this, like, nationalism, this kind of like weird populist idea, and it's very structurally, and this, you can't compare people to Hitler or else people say horrible shit about you, but I mean, it's structurally similar to Hitler and how Hitler came to power. It's very, very similar.
And it's also important to remember that Hitler came to power not because the Nazi Party ever had a true majority, but because they got enough of a vote and that they were able to disrupt the government.
Yeah, they...
Sound fucking familiar?
Yeah.
Thanks for right, idiots!
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Anyway.
But, this is why my entire... Sorry,
go ahead.
just to bring it up. My entire country, like, I remember a couple... Oh, geez, it's more than a year back now. America shut down because of the budget.
Yeah.
And everyone, I'm like, and funnily enough, the, congressional pensions and everything else, that kept rolling along, but food stamps and, the welfare programs, funnily enough, that stuff all got suspended because, hey, we don't know where the money's going to come from. But
it's one of those interesting things, and I want to make sure I get in here before I forget.
Right on.
Rasco, you talked about how the people who are in the most economic trouble are the ones voting for Trump in this country. And it's also interesting to look at the people who are in the most economic troubles come from the states that are voting Republican consistently. And one of the big things that the Republican Party is always talking about is slashing budget, cutting welfare programs. But it's almost 1-to-1. The people that are voting Republican in those circumstances, the people from the poorest parts of the country, are also the ones benefiting the most from welfare
it's
programs.
Weird because that same population, it's also it's actually for the welfare state. So like these are divides that aren't just happening in America. This is happening in a lot of areas in Europe as well, where there's this weird realignment politically where it's people that are culturally conservative. So, and when I say that, I don't just mean like they're culturally conservative in this, like I also mean that they are kind of racist. And I know that you shouldn't lump those two together, but they are very social. It's this weird kind of like nationalist identity thing going on. And they're for the welfare state and they're for a lot of other things, but they're still Trump. And it's weird because it's not conservatism. It's really not conservatism. It's this weird kind of actually kind of like centrist, maybe even leftist economic policy that's for the welfare state. And they need that, or at least they think they do. And it's weird because I don't think many Republicans are real conservatives anymore is another thing. People aren't really voting for conservative principles. They're voting because they're socially conservative still.
Yeah, and by conservative, of course, you mean, like, the original definition of conservative is you have certain things you want to conserve or keep in the system, and that's, in fact, that's where the original left and right wings of government came from, the French Revolution, when you had two sides of the floor. The left side of things wanted to experiment with their newfound power, and the right side of things wanted to keep some of the old structures in there, and they were trying to balance out what they wanted to keep and what they wanted to lose.
Ozzy, I still think that the French Revolution is too recent. We don't know the full effects of it yet. I don't feel comfortable talking about it. It's too new history for me, man. It's an example I like to try to avoid. It's still too soon to tell.
Right, anyway.
It's so
America is technically...
true. That's not even a joke, man. That's not even a joke.
It is, and America is technically part of that history. I mean, you guys are an ongoing experiment based on some of their principles, which, and hasn't done completely badly, but just swinging it around to something Wiley said earlier, I can give you the linchpin that I've seen uniting conservative mindsets, as in, when I use conservative this time, I mean people going for, tradition, and that's traditional marriage, people going for simple economic tax structures. And the answer is that people want easy, pat answers to really complex questions in a changing environment, instead of having to say, wow, there's a whole bunch of factors that have changed and we have to reevaluate everything every so often. Because that shit hurts to think about. God, it hurts. But
And it's like, it's also hard to get inspired by that.
yeah,
It's hard to, like, I'm not a huge fan of Clinton. I'll be frank about that.
I was not Bernie Sanders fan myself.
But, like, one of her big problems has been, no one's really voting for Clinton. They're all voting against other people, right?
Yeah.
And, like, her whole thing
Well,
is she's
libertarians.
all she's mainly talked about, whenever we've seen her, are, like, detailed plans for the economy and the social systems and all this other stuff. And it's, like, really hard to get jazzed about, yeah, more well-thought-out tax plans.
Yeah, I think...
I understand. I sympathize with that, not being excited for a candidate. And, I don't know, I've made this joke a couple times of, like, well, maybe Clinton will just have to resign after a couple months in the office, and then Kane will be president, and he'll be fucking boring. And wouldn't boring just be refreshing right now?
Yes,
Wouldn't
yes.
boring just be so fucking refreshing right now?
Yeah, well, the thing in America, we always think we're electing a king, so we want our president to be a big tough person, right?
Yeah.
Well, why? Why do we want our president to be a big tough person? That's so weird. That's such like a I'm gonna live vicariously through my president kind of thinking, right? Like, isn't that totally Trump though, right? It's the poorest, least educated people in America voting for the guy that they think of as like the picture of success.
So what you're kind of advocating for is a guy who speaks softly, but say carries a big stick. If you use the expression.
It's one of those crazy things because you only have to look back to the late 70s, early 80s, Carter and Reagan.
Mm-hmm.
Like, one of the things that I think, I'm not a fan of Ronald Reagan. People on the left and right will tout him up as one of the greatest presidents we've ever had.
In reality, both have reasons to think he's one of the worst. Both sides have reasons.
I think he was an absolute monster. But one of the first things Reagan did, and I want you to think about the fact that, as I say this, I want you to think about the fact that climate scientists have now said we are past the point of no return on carbon pollution in the atmosphere.
Yeah.
Let you drill, John.
Yeah. So Reagan, the very first thing he did once he got in office is ripped down the solar panels that Jimmy Carter had installed on the top of the White House.
Oh, come on.
Right?
Come on. Jimmy Carter knew what he was doing.
Like, that's the thing. It's like Jimmy Carter was not the most inspiring individual. He was a very grassroots candidate that kind of got elected by accident. No, I mean, really, no one would have fucking called that shit. Jimmy Carter was this very uninspired guy. Like, there's a video of Jimmy Carter that was basically a commercial that he broadcast to the American people, talking about the need to conserve more, to start recycling, to only take needed trips in the automobile, so gas lines would be shorter, all these other things. And he got fucking destroyed in an absolute landslide by Reagan, who was this macho man. Like, you can look up campaign videos or campaign commercials. There's where I want for Reagan, and he's not talking about his plan for America in most of them. There's like a really, really famous one where it's just pictures of Reagan and American landscapes doing Ken Burns pan and like zoom effects on still images, while I'm proud to be an American plays in the background. Really? And like, that's not a fucking that's not a policy thing. That is entirely emotional.
What are you talking about? I felt it in my heart.
Well, that's the thing, is you do feel like I'm someone who hates Ronald Reagan, and I watch that fucking ad and, like, I get the little heartstring pull, I get the little wow. This guy's like, this shit's really fucking inspiring. I can't lie. Like,
I'm getting inspired right now.
It is, though. Like, emotionally, it fucking works. Conceptually, intellectually, it's a fucking travesty that it works.
Again, people make irrational decisions, and that's the kind of stuff that influences them more. Like, it's funny. Like, it's like when Trump's running against people like Jeb Bush, and it's like, Trump is coming out here and he's like, you're a bitch, Jeb, you're a pussy. And then Jeb in return is like, well, I'm going to raise our GDP by 2%. Like you can't respond to people like that and expect to have some sort of following that's going to like galvanize behind you and be like, yeah. GDP.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Is there's like no inspiration behind a lot of this stuff, and like even with Trump, like a lot of people they've done interviews with people who are like blindly supporting him, and a lot of them go, "Oh no, he's not going to build a wall. He's not going to save the country. We're just tired of like big government. We're just tired of same old government. So we want an outsider."
People are so irritated, and they'll go for anything, and like. Anyone who's attacking the system, they'll rally behind.
And that's the thing is like, you got to remember the offer that was made to Kasich by Trump's son. Kasich. So for those that don't know, and this is like, I feel like this is important to talk about. For those that don't know, John Kasich, who was running in the Republican primaries for president, received a phone call from Trump's son. And the conversation was basically, how would you like to be the most powerful vice president in history? And Kasich's reply was, well, what would I be doing? You would be in charge of all international and national policy. Well, what would Trump be doing? Making America great again. Click! That was that conversation. So you got to imagine Pence got the same phone call. It's hard not to imagine that Pence got that same fucking phone call.
Yeah, which is really scary because Pence is a fucking theocrat.
But that's the thing is Pence is a career politician. Like he tried to, shit on Tim Kaine and Hillary Clinton for being career politicians. Pence, you haven't had a job since the fucking 90s. Pence is a career politician. He's going to be more than likely the one in charge. Mm. Trump's not going to be, besides the major policy things that Trump has promised he's going to do, which he's not going to be able to fucking deliver on, by the way, but besides the major policy things, he's not going to be the one doing any of it. So these people that are voting against Clinton because they want an outsider in the office, you're probably not going to get it. You're probably going to get an insider.
Yeah, see, that's the thing that's so annoying is that people keep saying Donald Trump's an outsider. Yes, he is, but also people keep saying, oh, yeah, but he's going to delegate all of this work. He's a good delegator. He may not know what he's talking about, but he can delegate this to people that do. And it's like, look at the people that Trump surrounds himself right now. He picks the most corrupt and just career corrupt politicians in the Republican Party that possibly exist. Possibly. Chris Christie literally is under investigation right now for potentially being involved in that whole bridge scandal where the bridges were shut down because oh my god, did you guys know about that?
Yeah, Bridgegate.
So that whole thing,
I didn't hear that much.
Christie was supposed to be Trump's VP, and he was tricked out of picking Chris Christie.
Yeah. Okay. For those that don't know about Bridgegate, the quick version, Chris Christie wasn't endorsed by a mayor of a small town on one side of the George Washington Bridge, so that his office purposefully set up blockades on the bridge
for a traffic study.
That caused major traffic jams that completely backed up the bridge and into that mayor's town. Mm-hmm. As political retribution for not endorsing Christie. And people fucking died because ambulances weren't able to get across, stuff like that. Yeah. So
and now it was kind of like a Nixon Watergate thing where they were like, oh, was it Christie or did he just kind of casually want this to happen and then his lackeys took initiative? What's his involvement in this? And it's all BS, right? He probably was totally involved in that decision-making process, but ultimately he probably won't ever face any sort of repercussions for that.
Yeah. And you look at Mike Pence, who refused to set up a needle exchange program because he was morally opposed to it until the state in which I am fucking living has now developed an HIV. What's the word I want? Not outbreak. Epidemic. Thank you. Now has a functioning HIV epidemic because of opioid use. And what did Pence want to do with the money he was getting from he was getting as governor from the federal government to help deal with the HIV epidemic? He eventually set up a needle exchange program. He also wanted to funnel some of it into straight conversion.
Yeah, dude, that's the craziest shit in the world, man.
That's pretty
That's
bad.
the scariest thing ever. Honestly, there's a million and one reasons why, like, I want to vote for some just random third party. It might have to be Clinton just because Mike Pence is worse than everyone else, I think. Mike Pence scares the shit out of me, dude.
Yeah. So there's just shit like that is fucking horrifying to me. And that's where we circle back to, should everyone be allowed to vote, really? Like, maybe there is something to the idea of only a certain, and I use this word, and I'm kind of kicking myself, certain class of citizen. I get a bad taste in my mouth. Should be allowed to vote. Like, only maybe possibly only a certain class of people should be allowed to vote, because when you look at the fact that the people that support those kinds of politicians are the people who, you know, and I feel so shitty saying this, and if I were a politician, I would never be able to get away from this statement, are the people who shouldn't be voting. Like, when you hear the whole get out to vote movements, no matter who you are, we want you to vote, it's not aimed at those people.
Nope.
Those people already vote. Old people vote Republican because they think they're doing the youth a favor. Old people vote, like, who voted for Brexit? The old people living in London. Who didn't vote for Brexit? The people who are going to have to live with that decision. It's such a fucking, like, god damn it. Why? Why are you allowed to... Like, you have to take tests for everything else in this country. You have to prove that you can drive.
I think I have the answer. So, like, seriously, like, America... So, this is something that I've only really come into... that I've really only started to, like, dive into recently, and this is this idea that America, part of America's history and part of the origin of the American identity is that in America, we decide culturally. So we act as if, whether or not you are religious or not, one of the kind of way, the principles behind how America decides our rights is that we act as if there are certain inalienable rights given to us by God. That's like what the American Bill of Rights is. Like, it's this idea that these are rights that you inherently have as a human, and that whole thing is influenced by Christian morality kind of influencing just secular morality over the years in a lot of ways, how, like, they kind of, in many ways, have intertwined, and you can say that the reason...
Well, it's important to remember that the Founding Fathers were deists, so...
Yes.
The large majority of them, but yeah, go on.
We're going to have some serious comments about that one.
Yeah, but it's just... like, part of America, so, like, I don't think any politician could ever get behind that, because, and especially conservatives couldn't do that, because that's oftentimes you hear the conservatives would make that argument that, like, these rights are inalienable human rights that, like, we kind of all decide upon, that, like, we deserve these intrinsically, and we act as if they're God-given despite whether or not you are religious. And it's just a weird thing in America where, like, that's kind of the source of where these, like, ideas of human rights come from in America.
Yeah.
You say...
It's such a weird thing, and I feel bad because, I mean, it's election season. We were going, no matter what, this was going to be a video about the 2016 presidential election in America.
We all knew it.
That being said, I do want to talk just a little bit more, if we can, about, democracy from a historical perspective, because when we think of great leaders in history, if we exclude American leaders, who, there aren't that many of them, if we exclude quote-unquote great American leaders...
All of them.
Yeah, like, who is a great leader that was democratically elected?
Okay,
Yeah, don't fucking Google that shit.
Hey, you hear my hands moving on the keyboard?
I'm having an Aleppo moment.
Right.
The president of Mexico.
Right, like, that's the thing is, like, when we think of these, in history is, of course, a fallacy of great men, but still, when we think of the great leaders, what do we admire about them? Like, fucking Jesus Christ, what the fuck where are our value systems?
I think
do we really, like, I guess it's this weird decision. Do we really want people to have a say in how the world is run?
You know, as much as insane as it is to say this, and I said this, and I said I was a centrist right from the get-go, the truth is, you can only ever get so many people to be gullible sheep for so long, to the degree needed to put a real despot in power. Even so, once they're in power, you can always take them out against the wall and shoot them if you can convince enough of them that they've screwed up enough ways and pissed off enough people. That's why you have democracy. But yeah, to use an example, Athens, the city-state that kicked off democracy as a word, as a concept, that had, while they were voting on everything, they had a tyrant. They had an elected official who was running the state and putting people to death. In fact, the whole voting on new laws thing got to the point where if your law failed, you were hung for it. So people did...
And
yeah.
It's one of those things where, like, you know, you talk about Athens and Greek democracy. A lot of people say certainly the most notable, if not the greatest, Greek philosopher was Plato. And what did Plato imagine in his perfect society?
Orgies.
Not fucking democracy.
Plenty of fucking...
You gotta remember, Plato's teacher died because of a democratic government. If you're willing to take Plato's word as historical fact, which don't necessarily do that. Socrates died because of a democratic government in Plato's version of events. So, what exactly did Plato imagine? He imagined a society ruled by people groomed to rule. What does that sound like? Monarchy. Like, you know, say what you will about monarchy, and I've got plenty. But the idea of raising someone to rule, I think is good. I like that aspect of someone being trained their whole life for this one specific purpose is something I like.
That, on paper, I like that idea too. The thing is, though, if you are that individual, your life will never match that of the average person that you will be ruling. So, like, it's hard to have someone who hasn't lived the life of the person that they're going to be governing. Like, it's kind of tricky.
Well put.
And that's like, and not to talk too much about Plato, but Plato talked about how the philosopher kings, and there's a really funny tweet I want to talk about too, how the philosopher kings would be raised throughout their life to learn all the aspects of the people they would be governing, because he broke down the society in a bunch of different ways. But there's this great tweet from Existential Comics that cracked me the hell up. It was Plato's like, people are dumb, philosophers are awesome, philosophy is awesome, people are too dumb for philosophy, philosophers should just be kings. It's really funny to me. But yeah, it's this really interesting idea of, can someone who is groomed to rule fairly, or will they just perpetuate the same problems that might exist? Can they fix the problems that exist in a society? And the idea of a democracy is that we can elect someone who came from the very bottom of the society and work their way up to the top, and then they can rule and fix the problems that they saw in their life.
Yeah, see,
I don't know.
I disagree with you on that point.
Well, that's the idea. It's not necessarily the way it works.
No. See, this is a point you made a little bit earlier. One of your presumptions there. Why do we have democracy? And if your answer is to create a vote on everything, then yeah, you're going to be stuck voting on everything. It's literally going to consume your entire life. But on the other hand, if you think of democracy as a convenient tool, one tool in a toolkit, one gear in a gearbox, then suddenly you realize that was one thing America had going for it when it was initially founded. as you said at the start of the discussion, it is how to put it? It's a republic. It has democratic functions and it has autocratic functions. It can occasionally, like the Center for Disease Control is a good example. It can occasionally say, "You've got the friggin' sniffles. It's going to make us all sick. You're staying home." And they can literally force you to take medication if you're that much of a risk to everybody else. It's a good example of what I was talking about before, about a balance of power. We don't have democracy, and this goes back to the original question, what is the relevance of democracy in world history? Ultimately, there's always a balance of power. Ultimately, no leader is absolute, and no leader is, and no ruling class, as you were talking about before, can get everything they want, because eventually there's only so many of them and they get crushed if they really screw the pooch on the populace. Now, this is kind of where, if I can take it forward a step instead of back, into the realm of speculative fiction.
Go for it.
All right, so, and now you will pay, young Skywalker. But jokes aside, it's to use 1984 and Brave New World, or you can just combine a lot of it with Clockwork Orange and just play We Happy Few. Seriously, friggin' brilliant game. Anyway, like I was saying though, you can really argue that once you can start refining society down to programming people and how they think, that the idea of democracy becomes a bit of a joke. On the other hand, the idea of power, when you can wield it that effectively, means that no matter how many people you've got, the majority or the minority of your population, the person who's first to figure out how to screw everyone else wins. See also Donald Trump. Anyway. But, yeah, sorry.
It's such a fucking mindfuck to talk about, and it's one of those things where when you start to challenge your assumptions, you realize how stupid you are. And that's the thing that gets me about people going, "Oh, why would you question democracy?" It's anytime you talk about, here are the problems with American democracy, one of the things you'll inevitably hear someone say is, well, it's the best system we've got. And if that's your answer, I think you are programmed. I feel like that is a programmed response that has been beat into you through years of indoctrination. Because if this is the best that we can do, we're fucking monsters. Jesus, that's horrible to think about. This is the best that it will ever be.
Yeah.
What? This is the best? Fuck you, then.
Motherfucker! That's what it sounded like you were going to. Motherfucker, you better shut the fuck up!
Seriously, if this is the best we've got, then, I could just name a million things that is wrong with it, and you're telling me there's no way to improve it? What the fuck kind of system is that?
That's why your Bill of Rights has amendments, for God's sake. It didn't start off with black people having the vote, but guess what? It got added in.
Yeah, but
and you know what?
This is an interesting thing then to talk about, because I was listening to an interview with one of the freedom riders, one of the people that got on buses and went down to help, make sure black people voted, help get the civil rights movement going. It was this woman, and she was talking about being a teenage girl and leaving the house to go do this whole freedom rider thing, and her mom was in tears, begging her not to go, not to do it.
Yeah, I guess.
And she's like, why does it have to be you? Why do you have to go do it? Why does it have to be right now? And I could hear the regret, but the truth in what this woman said to her mother all those years ago. And she said, because if you did, then I wouldn't have to. And it's this idea of like, oh, well, American democracy, a lot of these democratic representative systems, they have things on the books to allow change, to allow progress if you just wait it out. And that's kind of the argument that Hillary Clinton has been making. She's like, I'm a progressive that likes to get things done. That also kind of feels like, you know, the ugly girl that, you know, like you wanted to go to prom with the really hot chick, but she turned you down. Then the ugly girl's waiting there. It's like, see, I told you she'd say no. You should have just asked me to begin with. Like, that's what that feels like to hear coming from Hillary Clinton. That example seems apt in a number of ways. What the fuck ever. Like, you hear this idea of, oh, well, you're just willing to wait. Well, why the fuck should you have to wait if you're the one dealing with the garbage? Mm-hmm. Like, that's a really privileged-ass argument to make. Well, there are things in place if you're just willing to wait for the rest of the world to catch up. Fuck that. You shouldn't... If your life is on the line, you shouldn't have to wait. We should be concerned about your goddamn life to begin with.
Can I just say something about the 13th Amendment that abolished slavery really quick? Something funny about that. Like, there's another example about, like, why are we making a decision about this? The answer is already there. So, like, if you read the Bill of Rights, inherently, you don't need a 13th Amendment, because if you interpret the Constitution to mean what it means, then you can't have slavery, right? Mm-hmm. Like, that's what that means. But obviously no one was thinking that. So then we have to decide later on, when in reality, what if you're a constitutional conservative, and I really want to know what pure constitutionalists said at this time. Because if you're a constitutionalist, you should say, yeah, if you interpret the Constitution as this concrete document that is to be interpreted as law, then how can we have slavery? You don't even need to get
because niggers aren't people.
But we feel the need to now decide: do we have a choice in whether or not black people are free or not?
You want the argument from people at the time, and sadly people today. You want the argument for why the initial all men are created equal doesn't apply to slaves. Is because niggers aren't people. That's the answer. Niggers aren't people. Spics aren't people.
You're right.
They're
not I forgot about this. That's the missing fact I was just oblivious to. You're right.
No, that is the answer. Is, well, they don't count.
Yeah.
Like, it's funny. You have to actually go back and read the original Constitution to see it, because any Constitution you pull up now, like modern prints of it, are going to have this line excluded. But then when they were initially talking about how districts and whole voting rights thing in this country would work, they put in, like, for every X number of people will create a voting district and they'll get a representative in the House of Representatives, yada yada. Mm-hmm. The South wanted to advocate that population should include niggers. Mm-hmm. I'm going to use the word niggers here. The population should include niggers.
Because he likes the word.
Yeah, because that way the South would have a bigger population, would have more of a say. But it's such a weird fucking thing to think about. The Northerners, the states that didn't have slavery, were like, no, fuck that. If they can't vote, then they shouldn't count as part of the population.
They're not people.
No, like, seriously, that was it. Like, if you're not going to fucking let them vote, then they shouldn't count towards your population.
That's
bullshit. You have it both ways. You cannot have your cake and eat it too. You cannot have your nigger cake. And so the compromise, and if you want to talk about compromise in government and stuff, the compromise that was reached is every slave was 3/5 of a person.
Oh my god.
Yeah, fucking think about that. They're not people, but they're 3/5 of a person.
Right, yeah,
so
and we've, like, through science, we've, like, perfectly rationed out, we've measured what a black person is in comparison to a white person. They're exactly, this is the percentage of person that they are in comparison, yeah.
Exactly. No, that's really it.
Scientific studies is what we use to get here.
And so there's your answer from a constitutional conservative perspective is, oh, well, they don't get the right to vote because they're not technically people. They're only 3/5 of a person. There's your fundamentally constitutional conservative perspective. You kind of see why constitutional conservatism is a bit bullshit. Really. Fuck you, Scalia. I know you're dead, but fuck you anyway.
It's bullshit sometimes, but see, like, it's not bullshit when people interpret a document written in 1776 to be, like, pro-gay rights. Like, that's where constitutional conservatism makes sense, where it's like, let's not pretend that people meant something that they didn't mean when we do things. So, like, there are a lot of conservatives that, like, for instance, aren't, like, pro-gay marriage, but it's not because they're anti-gays. It's because they don't like the way in which we went about legalizing gay marriage, because it kind of falls into the trap of we kind of reinterpreted what people meant to clearly mean something else in order for equal protection to be an argument that we could use for gay marriage. So I understand what's the point of a constitutional conservative, but also the point of being a constitutional conservative is you inherently have to think something's wrong with it if you want to know exactly what it is so that you can make it better. So that's the argument that I see for constitutional conservatism. It's that you have to fully understand what your documents mean in order to actually improve upon them through the system, and without breaking rules, improve upon it.
Yeah, and that's to use can I give another example of, having to forward on with a project?
Go for it.
Okay, take Obamacare, the one that makes so many people think that there are death panels out there that have got you and your grandparents and everyone you know and you care about, and probably even your dog, slated for execution. Because, gosh darn it, that's just easier for some reason. A lot of people were saying the same thing. They were like, oh, but, I don't like the way it's worded. And, the answer was, look, you don't, with politics, it's not like you're designing, a car or or a boat. You're just like, this'll work for now. We'll improve on it later, but we've got a working version now. It's more like how you pitch an operating system. It works for now. So
yeah, and that's the thing, is like it works for now for the most part, but not really, is such a bullshit answer to give to someone who's like sitting on death row and they were innocent, right? It's a good, it's a system. It's got its flaws. The system has its flaws, but it's working for the most part for most people.
It's more of an explanation for the current circumstances more than it is a defense of the current circumstances. Like,
that's the thing.
Things are bad now because, like, we had to settle on something, so we had a basis to work from. And
it's such a just a not.
Yeah, it's not a defense. It's just an explanation of why.
Yeah, it's so not an argument though, right? It's so not a fucking argument. Like, you would never accept that kind of logic for literally anything else.
My leg's bleeding and all you did, my leg's been cut off and all you did was put a Band-Aid on it. Well, it works for now. Suck it up.
Have you never played Dungeons and Dragons? God. Look, if I know anything about the world, it's that as long as you got one hit point, you can be revived by a cleric later. It's good.
Oh, yeah. There we go. Dungeons and Dragons is a metaphor for life.
Makes for a pretty funny one.
Anyway. Well, yeah, it's such a... This is such a mindfuck of a topic, because it almost feels like we probably get it on a watch list just for making this video, right?
Hey, guys.
Right? Like,
back on the watch list. Anyway, go on.
Yeah, you just feel like you're kind of like dirty for talking about this subject thing. Is democracy worthwhile? Is it? Like, really? One of the other things I wanted to make sure we talked about is this idea of fewer circuses, more bread. Famously, to go back to Rome again, which, representative government, republic, eventually dictatorship. The creed of the Roman emperors, especially the bad ones, like Caligula, was just give the people bread and circuses and they won't care. This is an interesting idea to talk about, particularly with you, Ozzy, because you're in Australia.
We have circuses. We have bread.
Yeah,
but we don't usually combine
the idea of just keep the people distracted and they won't care about the issues.
Fuck. Yeah.
Yeah, you know exactly where I'm going with this.
Yeah, overboard,
Yeah. So, the idea of, well, if the people don't have a reason to care about it beyond just general moral outrage, if it doesn't affect their lives, then not enough people will make the government do anything about it. So if we can just keep them distracted and docile, then it'll be fine and it won't be a problem. How's that refugee crisis working out in Australia?
Yeah, look, Let me give you two examples of that. Okay, so Australia.
Hold on. Before you get into it, let me explain the problem just to make sure everyone's on the same page and everyone understands. The Australian government is dealing with Syrian refugees by stationing them offshore on islands that are essentially become prison camps. There's documented cases of abuse and just inhumane circumstances in these fucking concentration camps, let's just call them.
Yep.
Obviously I'm not biased on this at all. These concentration camps, and so the Australian government is essentially ignoring the problem and hoping no one will do anything about it. But when I say documented cases of abuse and inhumane treatment, child molesters are applying for jobs on these prison camps because they can just get away with it there. There you go. So Ozzy, please.
Yeah. There was
it's just like summer
two examples of moral outrage, okay, in Australia. The war in Iraq, back in, 2003. I can't believe I'm that friggin' old now. About 10 or so years ago when the war got started after 9/11, the Australian public as a whole said, one, it's not our fight, and two, what the fuck? But in general, we said no as a populace. It was a massively unpopular war. But after the political class and the army went anyway, we just said, well, fuck it. We had our say, but we're not going to start a revolution over a few tens of thousands, couple thousand people being deployed overseas, the majority of which are in support roles. In some country where we get our oil, some of our oil from anyway. So there was moral outrage, but ultimately, they never put that shit up for a referendum. But I'm
just talking like with the idea of keeping the populace distracted or keeping it to not be their problem, because by keeping the refugees offshore, it's not a problem.
Rewinding.
From a moral perspective, it is, but it's not causing any problems in the society.
Rewinding that. Conversely, this isn't. You're acting like this is a new thing. It ain't. Okay.
Yeah, I know.
Trust me. We've had what do you freaking call it? We've had the refugees in offshore detention ever since John fucking Howard got in there, and he's a man who I respect the skills he had for international diplomacy. He was pretty good at robbing Peter to pay Paul, but let me tell you, the offshore detention is a term we use here. Offshore detention has been going on since the late 1990s, because quite frankly, don't get me wrong, we had onshore detention as well, and it was just about as bad. And there was moral outrage over that, but it's still going on because mostly because they look really concerned and they say, oh well, someone should do something about this, and people think something's been done. They think that it's like when a charity says, oh, we're raising awareness. And that really translates as, we got no idea, we ain't doing shit. But we like to look like we're doing something. Australia's a brilliant example of the idiot country that keeps looking like it's doing something, but is really just ignoring the problem.
And that's the thing, is like the idea of we'll just keep the populace pacified, and so
they don't
like the one function the one like major function that democracy is supposed to have is that the people will have a say in how the government's run, so they won't uprise because of moral outrage, and they'll feel involved in the government, and they can make changes to it by even if it's representative, by electing the right kind of people. But what about when governments, as they've been doing for thousands of years, just keep the people ignoring an issue?
It's not exactly.
It's
how do
not,
I put it?
I mean, with that information, with the actual factual information that XYZ is happening and the people know about it but aren't doing anything, you have an informed populace that apparently is apathetic and just doesn't care.
It's not the...
Well, then
Did they mention
democracy...
global warming in any of the Trump-Hillary debates?
Nope, they didn't. There's another good example of it. You have all these different things of, well, what happens when the population just doesn't give a fuck? Well, then democracy isn't superior from a moral perspective, and if nothing's getting done anyway, then what value does it have?
Yeah, at the same time,
Except
you
that it
can't
makes
force
everyone
people to give
feel
a fuck
good?
about things they don't give a fuck about.
Yeah, like, what
not that-
good is that then?
I object to that.
Like,
That is-
it just makes everyone feel good?
No, it's
That
not...
they have a say conceptually?
No, it's not that... No, no. You got it round the wrong way. It's not that Australians feel good about these things. We don't. We feel shite about them. But what I'm saying here is that we assume that someone else is looking into it, and really there's only so much that we know how to do as far as protesting and demonstrating.
No, I get you. I'm not blaming this on Australia.
But close
it
down
just
the
seems
local
like,
pub and we'll riot.
yeah. I'm not blaming this on Australia. Rasco brings up a good point with global warming not being an issue in this country like it should be.
That's an issue. Well, climate change is an issue everywhere.
Yeah,
whether you think it's man-made or
fact
not.
The fact that hold on, let me just get this out. The fact that people in America don't give a fuck about it is what I mean by it not being an issue. Vast majority of the American public doesn't care, or still large sections of the population doesn't think it's a thing. Ted Cruz being an example. Fucking Ted Cruz. Like, just the idea that you can have a populace who's distracted and just doesn't see an issue as an issue. You can have a populace just not care. You can have a government fundamentally mislead, or you know, you can have bread and circuses be the new distraction from whatever the real problems are in a democracy, just like you can have with any other government. What makes democracy a better government if it can't at least morally be the upright thing? What, like, if fundamentally not caring if the earth is destroyed or if children are being raped is morally objectionable from almost any standard, and a population not caring about that is morally objectionable. So what, if democracy can't even have the moral leg up on things, what fucking value does it have besides making everyone feel good that they have a say?
Yeah,
it's more just like a way to facilitate.
It's bread and circuses.
It's like a way to facilitate decision making, and it's weird. It's like a lot of these things come down to like the individual, right? Like these come down to like this is where you as a person have to try to fix the things that aren't being fixed by your government. Like, this is where it comes down to, like, personal responsibility and social change, right? You have to rally behind this idea of if you care about climate change, you have to get people to care about it, right? You have to take action. And you can't necessarily expect your political system to do that. It's just there to facilitate the decision-making process, right?
Yeah, and, like, Obama had a meeting with some climate change experts, and they talked to him and talked to him and talked to him. He's like, great, now go out there and make me do something about it. Because, like, you know, the president doesn't have the power to just do things on his own. He needs mandate from the people. And if the people don't give a fuck, then the president can't do anything about it, is the idea. I disagree. You can put the fucking solar panels back on top of the goddamn White House! But lead by example, maybe. The reason no one's done that since Carter is no one wants to be associated with Jimmy Carter anymore.
I don't believe this black magic solar energy shit.
Right. Anyway, it's just like, it's one of those things, like, if all democracy does that's different from any other government is make people feel good about themselves by living in the society, make them feel like they have a say, even if they really don't. Even if they only really have a say if they live in a particular state during a particular election, and even then, not so much, because the like, even, you know, it's fucking crazy to talk about with 2016. So for those that don't know, I don't know how many international listeners we have. Supreme Court justice died. The Republicans refused to do anything about it and kept saying, we want to wait till the election. The American people should have a say in this and who gets put on that bench, even though it's the longest period of time that will have ever happened where there was a empty seat on the court.
It's a ridiculous, indefensible position. I mean,
right.
Really, even conservatives would say that. I've heard conservatives say that it's an indefensible position.
Well, regardless of that, though, now that, there are Republicans, Ted Cruz among them, saying that if Hillary wins, they will block her nominees for 4 years.
Hey,
what? Yeah,
really?
yeah. So, it's at this point where even if you have a say in getting the person in the job, other parts of the government can obstruct your voice still.
Yeah, and what's so annoying about that is, look, the government, in a way, they're trying to represent their constituents. They're trying to say, oh, well, we don't approve of this. Why would we not block this? But at the same time, it's we elect people for them to make decisions. That doesn't mean expand government, but that means to make decisions about who's in the government or how the government is working, right? That's what we make decisions. That's what the point of making the decision is. It's so that you can decide, I want this person because they'll put these people here, and the system will, lean this way. So when you lose the election, I'm sorry, buddy, but that's your fucking chance. Now you just have to suck it up and win the next one. Win an election. Stop just holding a gun to the country's head and saying, I will end this. If you don't fucking give me what I want. That's what the fucking shit that's what happened when they couldn't agree upon a budget. That's what the government shutdown was. It was half the country was like, we will fucking end this. Okay?
It's like when you're driving and someone keeps farting and you just go, fuck it, and crash the goddamn car.
Yeah, it's just you play chicken with oncoming traffic.
I guarantee the car's going to smell worse if you do that. But, yeah, this is where I kind of come down on it and just say, in Australia, when we can't decide on a budget, and that is put forward, you know what happens? We have what's called a double dissolution election.
What's that?
That's where both houses of parliament, the upper and the lower, even though pretty much the Senate's basically a rubber stamp, but both houses of parliament go on the chopping block. They can all lose their jobs.
Oh, that's fucking brilliant.
They don't agree. I did a whole video on this a while back, but if we don't agree on a budget, everyone loses their jobs, and we elect people who are going to be decisive and actually stick with their principles in how they allocate the budget.
And see, that's an interesting thing. The idea of you have something to lose if you do not, if you're just obstructionist, you have something to lose. Because that's the thing, is you can filibuster all you want because there's no consequence to it in this country. You cannot you cannot do interviews or whatever, background check, whatever the fuck it is, with Supreme Court justices, because conceptually, if you're in a safe district, there's no consequence to it. The idea of, if you are fundamentally refusing to do your job, you can lose it, I really like. Rasco and I talk politics a lot, actually. We had a discussion, and, he just kind of joked about a thing, and I actually really like the idea of it. Yeah. What if we actually treated politicians as voluntary slaves?
Yeah.
It sounds really fucked up, but at the same time, there's something brilliant in that.
Yeah.
There's definitely... I agree with you. Definitely something in that.
Yeah, if you don't do what you say you're going to do, if you don't try to do what you say you're going to do, you can actually go to jail. I really like that idea.
Yeah, awesome.
Just this idea of, let's get rid of symbolic gestures and just go straight to get shit done, or there are fucking consequences. I don't know.
Or die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's an interesting idea, but that's not so much talking about democracy anymore.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, there's an idea. There's an idea for a different political system. Okay, you teleport your representative onto a ship that is in orbit around Earth. It is slowly in a decaying orbit and will burn up on re-entry eventually. the only way to save their life is for everyone on that ship, every representative, to come up with a workable plan for the budget.
Oh my god.
And you get to elect your representative.
No. It was the best thing ever. It's the best possible thing ever.
Yeah, I'm just saying, look.
Like instead of a gunman just going into Congress and killing people or whatever, what if a gunman just held Congress hostage and forced them to do shit?
Y'all gotta figure this shit out, okay? Right now.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. Okay.
I'm just saying, look, they'd have plenty of food, they'd have plenty of water, they'd have one toilet between all 120 of them. But eventually, that thing has to be sorted by the time the orbit degrades. Otherwise, the teleporters don't go back on, you die. And here's the catch. They all die anyway, and we're all better off. So, I'm just saying, that could be done. That can be arranged. Make this happen, people.
It sounds crazy, but I think there's something to that kind of idea of stakes for the politician. Less extreme versions of it are if you want to bring legislation under judgment, then you have to be the one funding the court system to do it, stuff like that. You have to pay the lawyers' fees and all that stuff, and you have to pay judges' fees, just like people in traffic court have to pay judge and lawyer fees and stuff like that. But regardless, this kind of gets out of everything. Did anyone have anything else they wanted to talk about with the idea of democracy as being historically worthwhile?
This is the last thing I'll say is I watched an interview with, you guys remember Stephen Fry? Is that his name?
Yeah.
One time he was talking about how he's like, I'm a rationalist. He's like, if you look at countries in the world where all of the elements would make you think that this would be the outcome, when in reality it's the alternative, he's like, there's something to be said about that. So he's like, if you look at countries that have that don't have the separation between church and state, they're some of the highest in terms of freedom. They're some of the truly freest countries that exist. Have church and state directly intertwined, and that doesn't mean that we should do that, because that means a free. No, that doesn't mean that. But he's just like, there's a lot of things where the pieces equal this, but somehow it doesn't. It's like, this is what you would think the outcome would be, but it's somehow reversed. And I don't know, there's something to be said about that. Does democracy empower you, or is it possible that it takes away your power? I don't know. I'm not here to say it does. But it's a question to consider, at least.
Like I was saying, none of us is cruel as all of us at the same time. I mean, democracy is... Actually, I would argue that democracy is absolutely set up to disempower people. And not in a crazed conspiracy theory way, but that's fun to think about. What you'd normally get is the idea that, yes, 51% of the population can tell the other 49% to go stuff themselves. But, technically 50.5 if you use first past the post. But, the idea is that fooling 51% of the population is a lot harder than fooling 49% of it.
I don't know.
Yeah, like I was saying, it's not that you've got a bad system in place. It's not that historically speaking, democracy makes people freer or better or worse. It's the fact that it's one way to limit the power that any one group. A political manipulator can't manipulate that many people. A despot can't oppress that many people, and that many people can't agree with that many other people unless a matter is incredibly clear.
Mm-hmm. I don't know, man. I often enter these discussion topics on Geeky Gentleman being kind of on the fence about an issue, and then I find myself having a greater understanding and maybe coming down on one side, or the opposite, being on one side and then kind of being in a more gray area. This is an episode where I've entered with absolutely no concept of how I feel about a thing, except knowing for the fact that I don't know how I feel about a thing. And I'm leaving this episode with absolutely no concept of how I feel about democracy and no better understanding of democracy and its value. And I'm not surprised by that outcome, by the way.
Yeah.
That'll do it for this week's episode of Geeky Gentlemen. Ozzy, you wouldn't happen to be free next Friday, would you? Or that Saturday for you?
Next Friday. That's the 11th. Hang on a second. Well, just let me flip out my phone. And yeah,
sure.
I still got a flip phone.
Friday the 11th for us, it'd be the 12th for you.
Time traveler.
Yeah, right? It's like I'm talking to someone from... dude, I fucking saw this really funny text or post or something. It was a Yahoo question. And they were like, I just found out Hong Kong is like 12 hours ahead of us. Why didn't they warn us about 9/11?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, no, technically speaking, I get out of work at about 11 o'clock on Wednesday. So, yeah, I could do... This to me is like an early morning / late night. This is it's 4:40 a.m. right now. So, yeah, I could do this time of day. And I'll have the next day... I have 12th off.
Now,
11th is my 12th.
Never mind. It won't work. It's all too complicated. Rasco.
Yes.
You need to think of a historical movie we can talk about.
For next week?
Yep.
Oh, God.
Keep in mind, we're recording an episode on Braveheart after this. So for people that are going to watch on Thursday our review of Braveheart and see how we feel about the presidential election, we still won't know.
What about The Patriot? The other Mel Gibson?
Oh, no. Come on. Don't just pick Mel Gibson movies. God damn it.
Just Mel Gibson movies.
This will not be Mel Gibson.
Just Mel Gibson ones.
No. I'm banning you from picking Patriot because you already picked Braveheart and then the same fucking movie anyway.
Okay. Have you seen... Hold on.
Apocalypto.
No.
Oh, shit.
Evil does make me feel better.
Have you seen the movie We Were... Fuck, this is another Mel Gibson movie! I forgot that this is a Mel Gibson movie! Oh my god. The movie We Were Soldiers, have you seen that movie?
No, we're not talking about Mel Gibson movies.
I didn't even mean to, I looked it up and I was like, oh, this is Mel Gibson! Shit, have you done Argo?
No.
Argo?
Okay, we can do Argo. That should be fun. Talk about Ben Affleck. Okay. Next week, join us for Argo. We'll do a brief reaction to the presidential election, or watch comic reviews on Wednesday the 9th, and I'll do a brief reaction to the election. Or there just won't be comic reviews, because I'll leave.
What was the old joke? Non-stop flights to Canada?
Yeah. Everyone got their bug-out bag? Oh, okay. Anyway, everyone, thank you very much for watching. Until next time, I'm the Philosopher.
I'm the Walrus. Question mark?
I'm the Eggman. Goo.
And we're your Geeky Gentlemen, and we will be discussing things.